coming down here to Chicago. I'll take your questions if you have any in the room. I'll take them. If not, I'll take them online. Are we 7 o'clock East Coast time? Solid. Am I a little early or are we right on time?
We on time.
I appreciate it. Tonight, topic that I have to go into tonight. Man pleasing and what's the other word? Respect of persons, all right? Everyone has heard about that. I think there was some type of big battle on some type of chat house or something like that, brothers, go on. They called me about it. We're going to rap about it tonight. I'll break it down for you. From what I can understand, no one knows what in the hell that means. No one knows what man-pleasing is, and no one knows what having respect of persons is, and I will explain that to you tonight, all right? Any questions in the room? Anything I can answer for anybody here tonight? If not, you online? Please.
So I got one. I'd like to break down of Joshua chapter 15. I'm bringing the scripture for you right now.
No problem.
And my question is pertaining towards the scripture: is this incest, or is it just a brother in general?
Okay.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15, and verse 13. I'll give him an akwaf having.
Oh, God.
And unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord, to Joshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron, verse 14. And Caleb drove this to 3 sons of Anak, Shishak, Ebhan, Tilmah, the children of Anak. And he went out thence unto the inhabitants of the bird, and the children of the bird. It's like and the name of the bird before was Ketchasapher, verse 16. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Ketchasapher and taketh it, to him will I give Isupk my daughter to wife. Verse 17. And Othniel, the son of Kisnah, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Isupk his daughter to wife.
Okay, I'm missing what you're asking me.
I would like to know. I would like to know if this is actually incest according to the Bible,
as opposed to
Caleb giving his daughter towards his brother.
Okay, and what's the difference between that and incest? What's your question?
I'd like to know if this brother is actually breaking the law.
No, he is not, because this is not that kind of brother. You get the point? Just think One West. Just think UPK and think how we use the term brother, right? Brother means 2 things in the Bible. It means those 2 things right now. It means a familial closeness from being in the same nation, and then a closeness with friendship. You get my point? Like we're brothers in that the whole nation is a nation of brothers. Then there's a cat that's my brother, meaning he and I are very close. Do you get my point? There are also times when you read where it's actual, physical, your mother and father had a brother, and you need context to know which ones apply. This one, of course, is not incest because that's unlawful. You get the point? So this is the brother that means we're close, but not the brother that means he's my father and mother's son. You understand? Just think the way we use brother today, all right? All of our daughters are going to marry our brothers. You get my point? And one time, if the Lord blesses us, if we're very fortunate in the eyes of the Lord our God, those of us that have daughters will one day give them to our brother. Everyone understands, all right? Next. Please, you got it up.
You got questions online, sir?
I'm ready.
This is a question online coming from Lakum Ya'ala. He says, Slacky, sir, if I could. He says, Slacky, sir, if I could, in the kingdom of heaven, I understand the 144,000 will have long lives, but will their seed have it as well, or will it? Slacky. Or will it just be those men who earn the crown and pass it down?
Okay. In the kingdom of heaven, everyone is going to have a long life compared to the very short lives we have right now. What you want to do is think about a kingdom where there is no, curse from God, no childhood illnesses that are passed down through your bloodline, no diabetes that you're just born with. You get the point? Nothing you can do to get rid of it, nothing you can do to stop it. You are just going to have diabetes because of who your mother and father is. Sickle cell syndrome, heart disease, which is the big one. You're just going to have heart disease, not because, you live the lifestyle that fostered heart disease, but you're going to have heart disease because your father had it, right? Your father had it, so you're going to have it. Your mother had this, so you're going to have it. All of those, that's the death that comes with the curse. So imagine the kingdom of heaven, brother, where there is no curse, where there is no heart disease and high blood pressure that just runs in your family, right? Most of you look at when your father died, you go to the doctor, they're going to ask you, how old was your father when he died? You get the point? And they're going to chart you based on that. And there's just nothing you can do about it in this world because it's a curse that's passed through your family, right? In the kingdom of heaven, that curse won't exist. So can you imagine how long we would live without hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney disorders, without the goddamn poisons that they're pumping into the air, the oceans, the drinking water in Flint, Michigan, and right here in Chicago? I can all but guarantee the water down here is mud. I can guarantee that's where a lot of this violence comes from, is all of the lead in the drinking water in Chicago, Illinois. All throughout the Midwest, all of those cities that used to be factory towns, those places have terrible water from whatever they were pumping into the goddamn ground to make Ford motors. Well, imagine that a kingdom where that doesn't exist. Well, we're going to live a long time, brother. You understand me? A long time. Like something that right now you look at it like that's a world's record. That's going to be normal in the kingdom of heaven. Will we still die? Absolutely. But we will have such long and amazing lives. Things that would break records today in this kingdom. But it will be commonplace in the kingdom of heaven. And you can read about it in the Bible where you read about men like Methuselah and different people that live so long, and it seems so strange because you live in a place where you can't breathe the air. Everybody understands. Next.
Next question online is coming from.
Let me get the young warrior in the back. You got it out.
So if I could, I just want to ask, when you say we're going to die, will it be as heartbreaking in the kingdom of heaven as it is like what we're dealing with now when we lose loved ones?
No. Will it be heartbreaking? Yes. But if you've been through these two things, I think you might be able to understand. Most of us have been through both. There's a death when your great grandmother dies. Have you been through that before? You got great grandparents or old people that died in your life, brother?
Yes, sir.
No.
You know how
I know how it is.
How the families are.
Yeah, bro. Well, some people, man, they're blessed to have, seen their great grandmother, their great grandfather. Usually it's a great grandmother. Usually they don't know their great grandfather. And they might have been around. They might have watched her, when she got 70. She starts to lose her senses. You got to help her around. She forgets things, and you're with her through all of that. Then she's 80, and then she needs you to take a little more care of her. Somebody has to move her in. Usually the most responsible daughter will move grandmama into their home. And then she lives with them, and then she gets up in that 90, now you start taking pictures with her all the time. Celebrating everything you can with her, because in essence, you are saying goodbye to her, right? So excellent brothers in the UPK do that. Give a shout out to Officer Marad. Give him a hand. Officer Marad takes care of a hardcore warrior down in Philadelphia, brother. Brother went to the Vietnam War and had all these medals from our oppressor, and who threw him away once he got out. Well, Officer Marad takes care of him right now. Captain Tyler Ward did an excellent job doing things like that. Give him a hand. Head Priest Yaikwab. This brother fell off and went into the left-hand side. This brother Tazadakia used to take care of Chief Head Priest Yaikwab. Give him a hand. And to Zapawan. in his old age, when he was getting old, and you had to go over there and change his diapers and look after him. And that happens. And then one day, because you know it's coming, because they're, deep in their 80s or 90s, one day they close their eyes, brother, and they don't wake up anymore. And it's sad, and you miss them, and all the family comes around, and you have a funeral, man, and you hug each other, and then at that party after the funeral, everybody's laughing. You've been through that before, right? Where they have their, I hate the name repast. It sounds so gay. So I'm going to think of another word for it. How about reception? Can we go there with it? Let's say reception, because repast sounds gay and Christian. At the reception, even funeral comes from the Greek term funerary, which means fire. In the UPK, we would call that a burial. A burial. After the burial, man, you hugging all your cousins you haven't seen in a long time. And at the reception, you're laughing and remembering him. And then you go home, and in essence, the family becomes closer. Then there's a 12-year-old boy that gets shot down the street. You get my point? 16. And the mother's screaming outside. You hear her screams. It's a terrible scream I've heard too many times in my life. That sound when a mother loses their child, it's like a terrible sound. It's stuck in my brain like a smell you can't get out of your clothing, like that. And it's just a terrible sound to hear a mother scream who just found out her child is dead. Right? That's a different kind of death. You get the point? That's a whole different thing. And that death makes the neighborhood kill each other. You understand? I believe you brothers know what I'm talking about. That death doesn't bring anybody together. That death means 10 more people are dying. 10 more mothers are crying, right? Everyone has to now die because this pain is so deep that someone else has to feel it. You understand, right? That's a whole different death. In the kingdom of heaven, we'll have the first kind of death. Imagine dying at 250 years old and you slowly drifted since about 100. And you got grandkids and wealth, and you're passing down all of your wisdom and wealth to your grandchildren. They all come around your bed to see you every day, and they know you're going, but they're so happy because you deserve the rest. You deserve it because you've lived such a long and rich life, and then one day you close your eyes, an honorable man. That's the kind of death we'll have in the kingdom of heaven. Will it be sad? Absolutely, but not as sad as the one we're having right now. Not as sad as the kind of death that they're going through right outside these doors. Everybody understands. Questions? Please.
So you have a question online. This is coming from Godak Fires. He says, "Sluggy sir, if you ever encounter a woman in the world, should you tell her about the truth or just let her hear you listen to class?"
Okay, what's the difference? What's the difference between a woman in the world and a brother in the world? What do you do with brothers in the world? Let me ask him a question. If you encounter a brother in the world, should you tell him about the truth or should he just listen in class? Ask the brother that question. Is there another question I can answer for you in the room? Sisters, no question. Baby girl, what's your question?
My question is, what is the true meaning of trick or treat?
The true meaning of what again?
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. Give her a hand. That's an excellent question. Okay, we'll get it up on the screen. Look up Samhain, right? Trick or treat, right, is a custom where little kids go from door to door and they say trick or treat, meaning give me a treat, meaning candy, or I'll play a trick on you. And so little kids learn to just say it. Most little kids don't know what it means. They just say trick or treat, and some stranger gives them candy, right? The real meaning of trick or treat is a very old and a very evil history. It goes back to a holiday called Samhain, right? Samhain is a holiday celebrated by the ancient Celts. The Celts are the people of Ireland, right, in Scotland. The basketball team, the Boston Celtics, is honoring the old Celts, right? And this Samhain was this. Once a year, they believed that all of the dead people could come back to life. Whoever died could get up from the graves and walk around. But because they were dead, they were so angry. They were mad because they were killed, and someone now took their house and took their farm. So they were so angry. And so the dead people would come and burn down the barn, burn down everyone's house, kill people. And what they believed is that you had to give them money not to burn down your house. Now, dead people don't come back from the grave. This is what happened. The regular townspeople who were drunk, they would put a mask on and they would go to people's house. And if you did not give them money, they would burn down your home. Have you ever heard of Mischief Night? Do you still have that here in Chicago? What do you have? What's that thing the night before Halloween? You don't have that down here. Well, thank the Lord for that. Go ahead.
It's still called Mischief Night.
It's called Mischief Night. Sister, you never heard that before? Ooh, it was big when I was a kid. Mischief Night. Mischief Night is a night the day before Halloween where you go and just burn down the neighborhood, right? You just burn it to the ground. That's the real Halloween. So that was what the people who celebrated Samhain did. What do you have here?
So this is actually it. This is from
Please go ahead and read it.
concert. This is from history.net, the history of Halloween. Samhain is a pagan religious festival originated from ancient Celtic spiritual tradition.
When they say pagan, pagan just means this is what the common person did. If you were a farmer, if you prayed to strange tree gods so that your trees would grow, that's pagan, right? Keep going.
On the con. In modern times, Samhain, a Gaelic word pronounced Samhain, is usually celebrated from October 31st to November 1st to welcome in the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year. Celebrants believe that the barriers between the physical world and the spirit world break down during Samhain, allowing more.
Pronounce it Samhain.
Go on the con. Allowing more interaction between humans and denizens of the other world.
A denizen of the other world is a person who lives in hell, right? And it's a lie and it's not real, but this lie is what they use to put on a mask and to extort people for money, is to say, give me money or I'll kill your cows. I'll kill your goats and I'll burn down your house. Give me a little more.
On the con. Ancient Samhain. Ancient Celts mark Samhain as the most significant of the 4 quarterly fire festivals taking place at the midpoint between the fall equinox and the winter solstice.
Fire festival meaning that they set up big bonfires. At those bonfires, a fire draws moths. You burn a flame, moths are drawn to flames. And because there were so many moths at the big fires, bats would come and eat the moths. And that's why bats are synonymous with Halloween, because there were always bats around the bonfires eating the bugs that were drawn to the flame. Give me some of the violence. Give me the violence in the 70s and in the 80s that was going on. Give me a Halloween riot. Look up that. Just pick a random Halloween riot, right? So, baby girl, back in the 80s, people really celebrated Halloween the way the Celts did, and they would burn down the city. And so that was going on for a while, even, back in the 1700s, until the Catholic Church tried to make Halloween less violent. And then the Catholic Church created a day called All Saints Day. And now with All Saints Day, they celebrated Samhain, except they changed the name to All Saints Day, and now it catered to children. Now instead of it being an adult going to your door saying, "Give me your money or I'll burn down your house," a little child would come to your home and say, "Trick or treat. Give me a treat or I'll do a trick on you." And it was so popularized and everyone did it. And no one ever thought that this holiday that has such evil origins would still be evil today. Does your mommy teach you to take candy from strangers? Why shouldn't you take candy from strangers?
They might hurt us, or either the candy might have a razor blade and cut myself.
Give her a hand. She has a good mama. That's a good mother. Yes, baby girl, you should not take candy from strangers because there are razor blades in those Snickers. or poison or some man who is going to use candy to pull you into his house. And then you're going to know the real meaning of Halloween then. Once he gets you inside, once he gets you in that door, you will know it is truly Halloween. You don't want to celebrate Halloween. It's an evil day. It's a day where they use children and use a child's love of candy to make a child vulnerable to evil, to make a child vulnerable to being kidnapped and being poisoned. And that is the history of Halloween. It goes back to Samhain. Everybody understands. Next question. Any questions online? I'll take them if you have them. Any questions in the room? I'll take those as well. All right.
On the concert.
You up.
On the concert. The next question online. It is coming from. It's coming from DeVale Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Shalom, sir. Can I get a breakdown of Psalms 23? What exactly is it talking about?
You got it.
I got it, sir. Psalms chapter 23. Allah can knock off have it. A psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
He wants a breakdown on this, right? This is a very, popular psalm, even with people in the world. Of course, they don't know what in the hell it means, but Commanding General Yohana does. So I'll break it down for you right now, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. What is a shepherd? Who knows? A shepherd. Go ahead.
So a shepherd is a person that tends to sheep.
Give him a hand. That's what a shepherd is. A shepherd is someone who tends to watches over sheep. We don't have many shepherds in the Black and Hispanic community anymore. Not many, not nearly as many as we used to have. Very few right now. But it used to be an old and honorable profession to be a shepherd. What did a shepherd do? A shepherd protected the sheep. They used to carry a big staff, like this staff right here in this corner, right? They would get a staff. They would go out in the woods with the shepherd. With the sheep. The sheep have to go graze on hills. You can't keep them in barns. There's not enough hay. So you got to send them out. There's a certain time of the year where you have to send sheep out into the hills and let them just eat and eat and eat and eat so they can get to the right size so you can sell them as meat, right? And so a shepherd had to go out in the in the woods with his sheep so they could eat. But what happens if you're out in the woods with sheep? The wolf is out there. Lions are out there, right? And it was very dangerous. So you had to have a man that was willing to fight a lion, fight a wolf for those sheep, or else you weren't going to have any sheep to sell because the animals would eat your sheep. David is saying, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He shall not want for what? I just gave you the answer. Just tie it in a knot. He shall not want another shepherd. He has someone to protect him. He doesn't need a shepherd because he has one. He has someone with a staff that protects him. Everyone understand? So he doesn't need Allah. He doesn't need the white Jesus. He doesn't need all of the strange gods that we claim will help us when we're locked up in jail. You go into jail, you pray to every god in the pantheon. Whatever God exists, you're praying to him, hoping he'll change the mind of that judge. Why? Because you don't have a shepherd. So you're looking for someone to protect you in the time of trouble, not David. David was in the time of trouble at this time in his life. He was on the run from King Saul, who was trying to kill him unrightfully. The Most High was his shepherd, and he didn't want another one. Everyone understands? Keep going.
Verse 2. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. What's the metaphor again? A sheep. What's a pasture? A pasture is a field. A green pasture is a field full of grass. Just think of, your dream of where you could live. I grew up in the North Philly, brother, and I had dreams of just someplace with a tree. Hell, I would have been shocked. Like if there was a tree, some grass or something. Well, brother, if the Lord protects you, he's going to make you lay down in green pastures, like your dreams. just like that sheep would be, laying down in a field full of green, full of grass, having everything you want. He's all you need. He's all you need to protect you. He puts you in the right place, exactly where you should be, taking good care of you like a good shepherd would take care of his sheep. Keep going.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Here we go again with the sheep metaphor. He leadeth me to go by the still water, meaning not the ocean, which is water that you can't drink, right? Not something that's dangerous with a tide that comes in and out and might drown you, but a beautiful lake with fresh water. He'll lead you straight to water the same way a shepherd would lead his sheep to water. A shepherd would lead his sheep to the beautiful pasture. A shepherd would protect his sheep as well, right? Meaning the Most High is the God that we need to make our lives better. We've been looking for 1,000 gods, 1,000 silly religions that only please your oppressor, but they never please you. But meanwhile, the God of Israel, brother, is the one that could truly take care of us if we would behave as his sheep. Everybody understand? Keep going.
Verse 3. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness.
Now, here we go. Now he's gonna make it very clear, lay it down real flat for you. He restores my soul. What does that mean? He restores my soul. Who would need to have their soul restored? Your soul, so you understand, is you, right? Your body dies, but your soul does not die. Your soul lives forever. Once this body decays and dies, that soul gets a new body and comes back to perform the service that it needs to finish. The soul never dies. How do I say without giving it to you? Who would need their soul restored? Okay, don't think death. Come on.
Like so it'd be sinners.
You're on to it. Someone, okay, if your soul is down and depressed and hurt, that term usually is called being discouraged. You ever heard of that term before? When you're discouraged, that means your soul is down. The thing that is you, who you are, is low and depressed and sad. And oppression will do that to you. Oppression will cause you to need drugs, brother. You'll need to get high. Why? Because your soul is low. Your soul is depressed. You'll need depraved sex. Why? Because your soul is low. Well, the Most High restores your soul. You understand? He, instead of being discouraged, which is what oppression does in prison and death and poverty, instead of being discouraged, you will be what? Encouraged. Encouraged. Now he restores the courage to your soul. That's what the shepherd can do for you, huh? You understand? Keep going.
This is verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Imagine, once again, you're outside in pastures, and there's a valley. A valley is, imagine two cliffs or two mountains on either side, two hills, right? The valley is that low part in between two hills. Show me a valley up on the screen up for everyone, right? That's what a valley is. Come on up.
So he missed part of 3.
Read 3, please, again up.
Psalm 23 and verse 3. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in a path of righteousness for his name's sake.
There you go, Fuada. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness. Giving you the metaphor of a shepherd again. The shepherd also makes sure that his sheep don't stray. Right? He keeps them all together with that same stick that he beats off lions with. He also beats the sheep. Makes them go where they're supposed to go. Hits them on the back of their legs and steers the whole flock on the safe path. You understand? That's what the Most High does for this nation, brother. You'll try to go astray. You want to dip into go into drug addiction, dip into whores, and dip into Halloween. Before you know it, here he comes. Get in order. Get in order. Stop. Don't go that way. Don't go this way. Stay straight. Why? Because if you veer off the path, the wolf is over there.
Right.
The lion is over there. He leadeth me. Read it one more time.
Gonna come. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
In the path of righteousness. The path of righteousness is the way that you can move and behave to do the right thing. You understand? And that is the mission in this world. And it is intensely difficult to be righteous, man. It's supposed to be. It's difficult to do the right thing. That's why the kingdom of heaven is such a great reward. That's why rulership is such a great reward, because to be in the path of righteousness, you're going to have to fight the urge to veer outside of it, to go outside of it, to move and go into a different direction. What are those directions? Everything on the damn internet that is trying to get you to be a whore, a slut, a sodomite, some traitor, or just someone weak to loneliness. But you got to get right. You want to do the right thing. Keep the Most High's commandments. Maintain your honor and your integrity. He leadeth you in the path of righteousness. Keep going.
Gonna come. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
For what?
For his name's
For
sake.
what?
For his name's sake.
Why does he care that you, whether or not you veer off the path? Why does he care? Why doesn't he just let you do whatever you want to do? Right? Which is what most of you think freedom is. Most of you think that a good father is a father that lets you do whatever you want. Is that what a good parent is? Is that the kind of parent you are? I was like, what type of parent are you? But yet, when it comes to you, you look for a God that lets you do whatever you want. You want the God that lets you leave your husband. That's what you want, right? And if God does not let you leave your husband, you will find a new God. You want the God that allows you to leave your wife. Why? Because she talks too much. Because she gets on your damn nerves. Are you out of your mind? Do you think that lowly of yourself that you'd make a bond with a woman like that and what, leave her over what? Nagging? Getting on your nerves? Going through your phone? Well, then you should not lay down with a woman, brother, if you aren't willing to go through the vexation of education. You're going to have to do it. What do? You find a God that lets you divorce your wife. And that's easy to find. There are churches all over the globe that will let whoever wants to break up, break up. Will let families fall apart simply because the people in the family don't want to be together anymore. Nah, not in this house. For his name's sake, he leads you down the path of righteousness. Meaning what? You are his name's sake. He is your father, which makes you his child, and the mistakes that you make reflect on him because you have his name. That's a concept that I think is gone now. But if you were a Johnson, and if your son was a Johnson, you don't want your son being what, a transgender?
Right.
Damn, I know, not my boy. You want your daughter being some stripper and be, Candy Johnson, the stripper? You want your son being Careless Whisper, the Careless Whisper Johnson, Tender Pants Johnson, so that your name can be on a transgender? For your name's sake, you're going to have to keep that boy in order. I pray you understand. For your name. You're going to have to keep that girl in line, because you can't have a Sweet Pants Johnson being, and you having the same name Johnson. That would be too dishonorable. For your name's sake, you straighten that child out. Well, you're the Most High's child, and you have his name. You are Yasha Allah, a prince of the power. You are the nation of Israel, man, the chosen people of God. The blacks, Hispanics, and so-called indigenous people have the name of God on them. And God isn't going to allow you to squander forever in poverty, squander forever some sexual deviant, some drug addict forever. You carry his name. Everyone understands. Keep going.
Verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yea, though I walk through the valley. The valley, you got it right here? That's the valley. Yea, though I walk through the valley. A valley is a dangerous place to walk through. Why? Militarily, why? You see those two hills? Now, if you're walking through that valley, you're in trouble, because your enemy is up on those hills and he is going to pick you off like fish in a barrel. It's dangerous, right? You don't want to get down. You want to be up top. You don't want to be down in there. So your enemy can rain bullets or arrows down on you, and you can't do anything about it at all. You can't aim up and get him, right? But he is going to aim down on you and mow you down. That's the valley of the shadow of death. Why does it say the shadow of death? Because as I'm walking in that valley, I'm constantly aware of the danger. Death is like a shadow that's cast over this walk because I'm in a dangerous place. My enemy is on the hill about to gun me down as I'm in this valley. In the military, Esau's military, they call that being in a kill box, where you're down there and he's up there and you're dead if you go down there. So as you're walking through there, looking up at the hills, all you're thinking about is the danger. The shadow of death is over that entire walk. The prospect of death. Death is always close. You know that before you know it, if we don't get out of this valley soon, we're going to all die, right? That's your life in Chicago. That's how you've lived. You walk out your door, you go into bed at night, you peeking through the windows and looking through the windows all damn night, constantly. I think about the trauma I've been through. Do you know I think my car has been stolen every night? Every night to this day. To this day, when I walk out the door, I expect my car not to be there. And so I have to put it in a place where I can see it as soon as I open the door. Because if it's over here, I go, them niggas and okay, it's all right. Them niggas and man, okay, there it is right there. Them niggas are, and I every time I go, when am I going to get over this? Like, when am I going to expect for the car? It's there every day. But I expect it to be gone every day. Forget about the death that you just expect all the time. You just expect to get shot. Expect for your child to be taken. If any of you that are parents, you expect that if you're not watching that child like a hawk, someone is going to steal your child. You're at the park staring at them. If you don't see them for 2 seconds, where are you? Start losing your mind. Forget about that market. You're in that market. The child wants to run around. If you do not see that child, the feeling, kids should never even know what that feeling is to go boom, 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 because you don't see your child in that market. And to this day, my head goes to, I'm going to go to the front of the market and stop everyone from leaving this market. No one is allowed to leave the market until I find this kid. And I can feel my brain going to, I'm just going to go straight to the front and stop everybody from leaving until I find my kid. What do you know? She's in between the damn aisles hiding. She thinks it's funny. Well, where does that feeling come from? Because you are walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Right. And it's everywhere. It's always on your mind. You're always thinking of it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, meaning even though I'm in the kill box, I'm in a place where you better watch your kids. It's not exaggerated. You better watch those kids up. You better keep your eyes on them and don't take your eyes off of them in public. You better watch. You better be careful. You better lock your damn car doors. You better park that car somewhere you can see it. You better protect yourself. Right. If at all possible, you better be a man that has the ability legally to protect yourself, your brothers, and your children and your wife. You better do it. You better. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Even though I'm here, I'll be all right. I'm ready. The Most High is with me. He's with me. I'm in the kill box. I get it. But I know that there is someone above my enemy. My enemy is on my head, but there's someone above his. I know that the angels protect me as I walk through this valley. And that knowledge gives you a sense of security that makes you not need to smoke cigarettes to calm down. Right. It makes you not need to smoke weed and to pop pills to calm down. Right. Because the anxiety of living here will just make a drug dealer rich. Either it's your drug dealer on your corner or it's Pfizer or it's the people that make Oxycontin, or the people that make, blah, blah, blah. And they just sell it to people who are in stress constantly of getting evicted. Losing your job is almost a death sentence. You lose your job, it's virtually a death sentence. Because it means what? You're getting evicted out of your home. It means if you're on child support, you're going to jail. It's like a death sentence. If a supervisor writes you up, it's like a death sentence if you don't have that job. And that anxiety will require drugs. Unless you are a man without fear. You understand? Keep going.
I will fear no evil.
You get that?
For thou art with me.
You get that?
Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Verse 5.
I think that's going back to the shepherd metaphor, right? Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I know the Most High has a weapon, brother. I mean, my enemy, he always talks about his weapon. He's well armed, isn't he? He's not the only one. He's not the only one. He thinks he is. Evil men think they're so powerful, aren't they? Oh, they just, they're so well armed. They have everything. This fight just is going to be it's really no reason for me to even defend myself. Huh? That's what they say. That's what they say. When the Most High has his say in this issue as well. The Lord said his rod and his staff, they comfort me, meaning I know my God is armed. I know he's armed. And because he's armed, who can scare me?
Right.
Keep going.
Come. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemy.
I always like this one coming up. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of my enemy. Imagine a large banquet table, right? And all of the food. Throw out to the show, Brady. Put up here tonight. Give yourselves a hand. That's an old school custom. Well done. And who are the sisters that fixed up that bathroom? That bathroom has a woman's touch on it. Who handled that? The bar? Oh, yeah, I can tell somebody's real up in there. I mean, that bathroom is wonderful. Oh, it's like a vacation in there. Well, let me tell you, imagine a table, a banquet table. All the things you love to eat up on that table. All the fruit and vegetables and meat and flesh up on that thing and wine and good scotch. And you sit down at it, and over there, your enemy has to watch you eat it. That is beautiful in my sight. Just the thought of it just gives me such warmth. To think that he'll have to watch this. And you and your brothers are, Kwam Yashala, y'all eating the food and drinking it. And right over there, that servant over there is the man that fought every day to stop you from having this feast. Right. And now he has to watch you eat it. Listen, that's glorious in my sight, brother. That's a beautiful thing. It's worth working as hard as I have to work so that my enemy will have to watch me enjoy what I've won. Keep going.
Thou anointest my head with oil.
You get that? Anointest my head with oil. Oil right up here. The Most High anoints his head with oil. You'll find that all through the Bible. That was a custom that we had in Israel. Whenever someone was chosen to signify that this person now was blessed by the Most High, when you became a priest, when you became a king, the extra virgin olive oil or the pure oil was poured over your head. The Most High chose you.
Why do Christians do that?
Because it is scripture. It's the same thing. They got the Bible, and that's why they do it.
Oh.
That's it. Go ahead.
My cup runneth over.
You get that? My cup, talking about the wine in your cup. It's so much wine in it, the cup is overflowing. Keep going.
Verse 6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
You're going to have a good life now, brother. You stayed on that path of righteousness. You did what was right. So many of you think that bad things follow you. Here's the good news. That's true. Bad things follow you everywhere you go because you're a bad person. And that's the key to understanding life. Oh, man, I'm always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Man, how this thing happened to me again? It's like no matter what I've tried to do, that's true. You're right. Because you're a terrible person. And so everywhere you go, everything you do is cursed. Everything. Because you deserve it. What does the Most High want you to be blessed? If he blesses you, goddamn, what would that mean? It will mean some piece of garbage like you gets to what? Prosper and grow and live forever? Then what will the righteous think?
Right.
That we all should be like you? Nah. The Lord has to make an example of you. So he has to destroy you and everything you try to go do so that you can be the example of what not to be and what not to do. That's simple enough to understand, right? I believe I broke it down flat as I can for him. Is that it? See me one more time, warrior. I appreciate it. What's your name up? Say again? I will not. What? I appreciate it. Is there more? Go ahead.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
What does it mean to dwell in the house of the Lord? What's the Lord's house? Hard to understand, right? Because he doesn't, you don't have an apartment, right? You don't have some home that he lives in. So what's the Most High's house? The Most High's house is this world. Everything is his. Being alive, if you're alive, you're in his house. This is his house. You will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Lord's house is being in his grace, being under his roof. Think about it like the concept of a father. If I obey my father, then he won't kick me out. You get that concept? But if I don't obey him, he says, when I come home, all of my things are in trash bags. If you don't want to obey my rules, you can't live under my roof. Right. Now, why do you want to live under your father's roof? Because there's food in that refrigerator and heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer, right, and a bed and sheets and, entertainment, right? There's a blessing in that home. But to stay in that home, I can't, sell drugs out of that home, right? I can't, bring prostitutes into the home. Right. I can't bring over my friends who wreck the home, or else I have to leave this place of comfort. Well, the place of comfort in this metaphor is having a good life, having the kind of life that God blesses, not a life where you're constantly getting arrested throughout the world, constantly getting arrested, coming in and out of jail, going from one mistake to another, constantly crying for some judge to give you mercy, always begging some slut to sleep in her house all the time. You live a terrible life because you're outside of God's house. You're in the street. So now out there, it's not like living in your dad's home. Now you out there with your friends who you love so much. Go out there and be with them. Go sleep on their couches. Go ahead, go. You want to get high? Go get high with your friends. But get out of my house. Everybody understands that metaphor, right? I pray you do. Next. Questions in the room, I'll take them now. Warrior right up front.
I like it, sir.
I'm good, Warrior. Throw it.
I'm on Clubhouse, frequently a lot, and going with the virgin birth, Luke 1:35, the word overshadowed. It was a fake Israelite. He pulled the Greek term for it, and basically what it was saying, he using that to basically say Christ was born.
How does the Greek term mean that Christ was immaculately conceived? Is that what you mean? How does the Greek term mean that?
He used the word, let's say overshadow. It's
right.
Let's say to invest with pre-natural influence.
Overshadow means to invest with pre-natural influence. He should keep looking things up.
So, because the only thing I could do was pull, Hebrews 2:16 and explain to him, okay, if that's what you want to use, 2:16 says something different.
Overshadow doesn't mean that. That's not what that means. That's the Christian word, the Christian definition for overshadow in the New Testament. Do you understand? But of course, a tree can overshadow a bush. A tree can overshadow a cliff, right? We just talked about, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. What does the shadow of death mean? It means this thing casts a shadow, right? Imagine going under a tree or a big tall building, right? There's a shadow that something tall casts down on the things that are small. The bar.
I'm looking up the word right now, overshadow in the Greek.
It's G 1982, and it simply says exactly what you said. Throw a shadow upon, to envelop in a shadow, to overshadow.
Yeah, that's all shadow means. Like, I mean, we use shadow all the goddamn time. All right, it's you know what the shadow is, right? The shadow is the darkness that comes down on something that, you know. You ever make shadow puppets on a wall or something like that? Y'all don't do that no more. It's a shadow. It's a darkness that's up to that's cast on the bottom from something being up top. Young man right here.
How's it going? My name's Isaiah.
Shalom, bro.
So I just been interested in studying, you guys,
Mm-hmm.
Isupk and stuff
Come.
like that. I was hoping you might be able to break down Hebrews 7.
As soon as I get done here, all right?
Yes, sir.
Stand by, warrior. Go ahead, Al. So overshadow is a shadow. Okay, I'll break it down for you now if you need me to, right? Read that one. Read the scripture that you pulled.
Luke chapter 1, verse 35. It said, and the angel answered and said unto her, the Holy Spirit shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee.
The power of the what?
Highest.
The power of the what?
Highest.
That's important to the metaphor, right? The Bible speaks in a poetry that blacks and Hispanics can understand if you could stop being so Christian. But it's a poetry. The power of the highest shall overshadow thee. I believe I just said just now, about a second ago, that a shadow is cast by something very tall down on something that's shorter, like a tall tree can cast a shadow. Show me a tree up here that's casting. Oh, well, there you go. I'll give him a hand. All right, that's the shadow, right? So now, if you're down there on the street, you'd be in that shadow. Give me a tree that casts a shadow, or a building, or a mountain, right? The Most High is very tall, very powerful in stature, meaning the metaphor of his might, right? And he cast a large shadow. Well, if you're under that shadow, you're safe. You understand? Because you're close to him. Mary was protected by the Lord. Her baby wasn't going to die in childbirth.
Right.
Her baby she wasn't going to lose her child because of this complication and that complication, like so many Black and Hispanic women died in childbirth, more than any woman on the planet Earth. Now go look up that stat anywhere. Right here in America, the tribe of Judah, a woman from the tribe of Judah, she is more likely to die in childbirth than in a third world country. Right now, our babies aren't protected by the Lord our God because of our sin. Mary, come on. Or Miriam in the Hebrew, listen, that baby was going to make it, brother. You understand? Because the Lord was overshadowing that baby, right? Imagine a very hot day, an extremely hot day. Where can you find the cool? Under the shadow of a big tree. You can get under that shadow. That shadow will do what? Protect you from the heat. Everybody understands? That's the metaphor. Overshadowing meant that Mary was protected by the Most High, and her childbirth was going to be protected. That baby was going to live because the Most High God wanted it to be here. You understand? Now, here's the good news. Because overshadowing doesn't mean this baby was magically impregnated into this woman, because it doesn't mean that, and it simply means that the Most High protected this woman, then that's something that your wife can have also. And these sisters can have that. These sisters can't be magically impregnated, but the Lord can protect them in childbirth. The Most High can overshadow them in childbirth. He can protect their children. So do you see how it makes this scripture so much more powerful? Because now our women can benefit from it. Now every Black and Hispanic woman can say, the Most High is going to overshadow me, and my baby will be born. You understand, warrior, correct? Let me get the young brother in the back, all right? You got it right there. You see the shadows all. That's overshadowing, all right? What was your question again? Hebrews 7 up?
Yes, Hebrews 7.
At one or a different verse?
Well, really, I just wanted you to break down that whole chapter, but more specifically, pretty much starting from 16 to 28.
Give me. I don't quite have the time. Give me the best point, the point that you need.
Well, it's a few things. It's basically just describing the tithes and what was going on.
Let's go into that. Let's do the tithes. All right. What is that? Around 12 or 14? Let me see where I need to start. I'll break down the whole tithes thing in Hebrews 7. Would that suffice?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews, the 7th chapter. Bear with me. I'll tell you where to start. Okay. All right. Hebrews 7. Okay, where do I usually start at? 7 and 7? Okay. Okay, I might just start at 1. All right. Okay, I might. If you have any other questions, raise your hand. All right. I'll try to go as much as I can before I have to answer the other questions. You have any questions online? All right. Let me give you a little taste. All right. Start at Hebrews 7 and 1. Someone read for the brother.
Come
Go
ahead.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 1.
So, like the brother brought out, this is about tithes. The word tithe is Old English for tenth. Tenth in the Hebrew. All right. This is about tithes. Just remember that all the way through. It will help for time's sake. Keep going.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter.
Melchizedek, I believe that's Malak Zadok in Hebrew, meaning king of righteousness, right? You got to go back to the book of Genesis, right? Abraham was one of the patriarchs of our nation, one of the greatest men that ever lived, and he is one of the men that provoked the Most High to make a covenant with the nation of Israel. He's our forefather, one of our 3 forefathers, right? He went and battled a great battle. He was outnumbered, but he was more cunning than his adversary, and he rescued his nephew. And he not only did he rescue his nephew, but he spoiled 5 kings who kidnapped his family member. He got his family member back and took all of their gold and wealth and killed them. So now he's victorious, brother, coming back on the road, him and his men. He took all this wealth. The Most High blessed him. As he was coming back in the middle of the road, there was a man standing there. This man came from the Most High God. He wasn't a man that had a mother or a father. He wasn't born here on the planet. He came from the Most High. He had no mother, no father, no birthday. He was the King of Peace. That man was the first appearance in the second appearance in the Bible of the man we now call Jesus Christ, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings and the Prince of Peace. Everyone understands, which is what we just read just now. Salem, King of Salem, or King of Shalom, King of Peace. This is Christ standing on the road as he comes from this battle, from these 5 kings, having all of their wealth with him. Keep going.
Who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of kings and blessed him. Verse 2.
And he blessed, he saw Abraham. What does it mean to bless someone? You approve of what they've done. If you bless a marriage, you look at this man and this woman, and you go, I approve of this union. I agree with this. How did the Prince of Peace bless Abraham? He saw him coming back from this battle, having taken the gold of these 5 kings and killed them, and he approved. He said, this is a great thing. I like what you've done. I bless what you've done. Keep going.
Verse 2. To whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all.
Now, when you go read in Genesis, you can read about what happened. Abraham saw this man who approved of what just happened, blessed him when he saw him. Abraham, you know what? Give this man here, who I don't know, who is standing in the middle of the road,
Right.
give him 10% of everything we just took from those kings. And his men gathered it together, took 1/10 of it, and they gave it to him. Keep going.
First being by interpretation, king of righteousness.
King, which is what Melchizedek means. Malak Zadok, king of righteousness. Keep going.
And after that also, king of Salem.
King of Salem, which is king of peace. And of course, you know Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace. Keep going.
which is King of peace.
Keep going.
Verse 3. Without
Now, if I
father,
could, this is what Paul is trying to make the direct comparison between Christ and Melchizedek. He's trying to show you that Christ is Melchizedek. That's why he keeps saying it. Christ is Melchizedek. Christ received tithes first, coming from Abraham, coming from those 5 kings.
Right.
Keep going.
without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days.
That's important to the breakdown, young brother. Why? Because he didn't have a father or a mother or a beginning of days or a birthday. He didn't have any. Why does that matter? Because at the time, who was receiving tithes at the time? You know what? No problem. The tribe of Levi, who were the people you would call today the so-called Haitians. They were receiving tithes because they were born Levites, simply because they came from a tribe who were given the position of priests. So if you were born a Levite, you were going to live off of the tithes of the nation of Israel, right? You had a birthday. You had a mother and a father. Your mother and a father and your father were both Levites or Haitians. Do you understand? And that meant you could receive tithes because of who your mother and your father were and because of who you were born as. You need that for later, all right? Keep going.
Nor end of life.
And he didn't die. He wasn't a man. He didn't have a birthday and he didn't have a day he died. He was not a man. He was a spirit. He was a soul. He was an angel. Keep going.
But made like unto the Son of God.
That's what I just said just now. All right, but made like under what?
The Son of God.
Under what?
The Son of God.
Here we go, young brother. This is Paul trying to say this is Christ. A son of God is an angel. All right? Or anyone that obeys God. Everybody understands? That's Hebrews 8:14. All right? Keep going.
Abideth a priest continually.
Abideth a what?
A priest continually.
A what?
A priest continually.
Listen, what Paul is doing right now could have gotten him killed. It's revolutionary. What he's trying to say is Melchizedek is the high priest, not the Levites, not the Sadducee and Pharisee, but priest after the order of Melchizedek. He's saying that in the New Testament. What is Paul trying to teach? He is trying to say, stop paying tithes to the Levitical priesthood and start giving me your tithes. Why? I can tell you how why I was shy. Because I am a priest after the order of Melchizedek. I'm not a Levite. I wasn't born into this family that received tithes by order of the law because of their bloodline. But I come from the priest and I work for the priest who received tithes before they did, which is the point. Keep going.
Verse 4. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoil.
This man must have been really great if Abraham paid him tithes. He must have been a great cat. Keep going.
And verily, they that are of the sons of Levi.
The sons of who?
The sons of Levi.
The sons of who?
The sons of Levi.
At this time, Levites are the only ones that could receive tithes. At this time. And he's saying verily, meaning definitely. The sons of Levi, go ahead.
Who received the office of the priesthood.
Right now, at that time, the Levites received the office of the priesthood, which means the Levites received tithes. So you could understand, tithes are not donations. Tithes are more akin to taxes, and it's the pay for the priest. Right? There's a donation that you give out of the kindness of your good heart that you can give, and that's up to you, whatever that amount is. Tithes is not up to you. 10% of your pay is not your pay. Your paycheck is 90% of whatever you get. That's your paycheck. 10% does not belong to you. It belongs to the priest who serves you. And what Paul is trying to say is, stop paying these Levites tithes. They're not the priests that you should be following. I'm the priest that you should be following. My priesthood predates theirs, which is the point here. Keep going.
Have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law.
That's in Genesis or Exodus. The Levites, it's in the law that if you're a Levite, you do not have an inheritance. You can't own a farm. You can't be a farmer. You eat from the temple. You eat from the altar. The people give their 10%. That's your pay. You don't own a business or a farm. You work for the temple. You eat from the temple. That's in the law, and that's true. And that was going on and existing for a long time. But then the Most High found error in that priesthood. He saw that we needed new priests because those priests were insufficient at their job, incompetent at their job. And the Most High went and got the first priest and had men follow him to make a better priesthood. Keep going.
That is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham.
Now here we go. And this part can be difficult to understand. Focus in. They come out of the loins of Abraham. What are your loins? Your penis, your scrotum, right? Levi was inside Abraham when Abraham paid tithes. Do you get my point? If you don't, tell me now. Levi comes out of the loins of Abraham, meaning out of his penis. But Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek. So what does that mean? Levi paid tithes to Melchizedek because he was inside Abraham's scrotum when Abraham paid Melchizedek tithes. Keep going.
But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham.
He whose descent is not counted from them. Who is he whose descent is not counted from them? Melchizedek, meaning he does not come from Levi. He is not a Haitian. He is not a Levite, but yet he received tithes. His descent, meaning he does not come down from Aaron. He does not come down from the Levitical priesthood, but he still received tithes, even though he's not a Levite. Keep going.
And blessed him that had the promises.
And Melchizedek blessed Abraham, who is the father of Levi. Keep going.
And without all contradiction.
And without any contradiction, this part is important. Without any contradiction, meaning no one can say this is wrong. No one could say that this is a statement that is not valid. Without all contradiction, go ahead.
The less is blessed of the better.
The less is blessed of the better. Read that again.
The less is blessed of the better.
Who got blessed? Same young brother. Who got blessed? Give him a hand. Who is better? The less is blessed of the better. Who's the better? Same young brother. Give him a hand. And if Melchizedek is better than Abraham, who else is Melchizedek better than? Give him a hand. Now pay your tithes. 10% every 2 weeks. Without fail. Pay it. You owe it. Your oppressor takes the money from you, you never even see it. He takes FICA, this and that, takes it out the check from the top.
Right.
I remember years ago, I said, Juliana, we need to just take the money straight out of their goddamn check. He said, Shemai, go sit down somewhere behind me and get out of my goddamn face all the time at 3 a.m. I said, look, we need to, have them give us their checks, we cash them, and then we hand them back 90%. He said, it's 3 a.m. Would you go to bed? So we can't do that. All right. But you are going to pay your tithes. You owe it. You owe it. And please believe we're working all the time, day and night. And we're better than your preacher. Grandmama's paying tithes to some pimp, to some Catholic priest, paying to molest your children. Keep going. I got to go. Go ahead. One or two more.
Here, men that die receive tithes.
Here, men that die receive tithes. Keep going.
But there he receiveth them of whom it is witnessed that he liveth.
Melchizedek lives. He ain't dead. And Christ is alive, not dead. Now skip down to we are priests after the order of Melchizedek, and we can be done with this. What verse are you in now?
Verse 9, sir.
Go ahead.
And as I may
Tell everyone where you at.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 9.
Go ahead. Now, is this priest? Go to 11.
Book of Hebrews chapter 7, verse 11. If therefore perfection, whereby the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law.
Meaning, if perfection, if the people were made perfect by the Levitical priests, because the people did receive the law from Aaron, right? From Moses, from all of the sons of Aaron. Aaron was the chief priest at the time, and he was a so-called Haitian, a Levite. If the people were made perfect from these priests, go ahead.
What further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek?
The order of what?
Melchizedek.
The order of what?
Melchizedek.
If the Levites were making us perfect, then why did the Most High create a new priesthood after the order of Melchizedek? Meaning, we are not Melchizedek, but we work for the Prince of Peace. We work for him. We're in his order. We're in his camp. We're with him. We serve him. And if that old priesthood was so good, then what in the hell are we doing here? You understand? Look at, and I'll compare this to your preachers and your reverends who drive Rolls Royces and private jets off of the tithes of little old ladies. Well, if they were doing such a good job, then we would not have been needed. But we are desperately needed. And we're doing it. Everyone understands. That's your breakdown, Knock. All right, you good to go from here? Questions online? We good to go, Knock, or not?
So I was really focused on 16 on down, honestly.
Oh Lord, give me a couple of verses. Start at 16. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment.
What is the carnal commandment? What does carnal mean? Do you know, young brother?
Yeah, like lewd.
Say again.
Lewd.
Lewd? No, not in this sense.
No.
Carnal. Think about the topic. Carnal commandment. What's the commandment? Someone pull it up for me in Genesis. That the Levites shall, whosoever is born of the seed of Levi shall be a priest. The carnal commandment is the law that says that the Levites are priests, because that's our topic, right? Meaning it's carnal because it's about their flesh. Carnal, or it means flesh in Latin and Spanish and Greek, all right? So the carnal commandment, someone pull it for him, says that a Levite must be the priest, not because of his conduct, not because of his righteousness, but because of his flesh, because of the bloodline. Read it again and keep going.
Who is made not after the law of the carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life.
Meaning he is not made after the law of the carnal commandment, which says the seed of Levi must be the priest. Someone pull it for him. Where is it at? You got it out? Tell him where it is.
I have Numbers chapter 3.
I think that's it.
In verse 11.
The carnal commandment is right here, young brother. All right, Numbers 3 and 11. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, and I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that open the matrix.
A matrix is a vagina. It's a lucky baby girl. But that's what a matrix is. You remember that movie? An actual matrix is a shalom. All right? Keep going.
Among the children of Israel.
So now, meaning out of everyone that breaks forth out of the matrix, that comes out of a woman's womb, out of everyone, he chose Levi. Out of everyone that comes out of a woman's womb. Keep going.
Therefore, the Levites shall be mine.
Shall be what?
Shall be mine.
Keep going.
Verse 13. Because all the firstborn are mine. For on that day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt.
He decided that Levi would be his firstborn. He separated them from the rest of the nation and made them priests. Give me another verse that calls them the priests. They are priests and they receive tithes of the people. All right, we'll keep going while they're finding that. Keep going up.
I hallow unto me all the firstborn.
No, that's it. Give me one that says Levi receives the tithes. All right, keep going up.
Hebrews 7 and 17. For he testified there are they priests forever after the order of Melchizedek.
For he testifieth, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. That's what I just broke down. The carnal commandment is the commandment that says the flesh of Levi is the only flesh that gets to be a priest. The Lord said you will be a nation of priests, meaning now any tribe can be a priest. Anyone at all. Young brother in the back, Officer Salaki.
Sir, I got numbers 18 and 24.
Let me hear it.
Hello, Khan.
You need this one too, young warrior. Numbers 18 and 24. Go ahead.
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 24. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto the Lord, I have given to the Levites to inherit.
That's the carnal commandment, right? Given to righteous men. Is that what you said? Read it again.
Given to the Levites to inherit.
Given to the good brothers who to perform a good service for God.
Given to the Levites to inherit.
Given to the people who do the job well, and who love their people.
Given to the Levites to inherit.
This had nothing to do with behavior. This had to do with what, young brother? Huh? I'm talking to you.
Flesh.
Thank you. Give him a hand. He is paying attention. It is a carnal commandment. It's because of who their daddy is, because of who their father is. And the Lord gave them a shot. It didn't work. They weren't good at it. Now go back. Go ahead. You keep reading.
Hebrews 7, verse 18. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment.
A what?
A disannulling of the commandment.
A disannulling of what commandment? Where are you reading from?
Like I said, Numbers 18 and 24.
That's the commandment. And it's been disannulled. And it's right here. Meaning they had the job, they got fired. Done. That's it. That happens sometime, huh? Sometimes you get an opportunity and you blow it. And now everyone gets the opportunity. Now there are Levite priests. And those Levites follow the Prince of Peace. And there's Judite priests and Puerto Rican priests and Hispanic priests. And all of them follow Christ if they want to be priests.
That's right.
Keep going. Right here.
Going before the weakness and unprofitableness thereof.
Going before the weakness and unprofitableness. That's why the commandment got disannulled. They were weak and unprofitable. Weak to what? Weak to their flesh. Weak to bribes and, sin and filth, because they became priests and they didn't earn it. Do you understand? They were like entitled. They came out, their daddy was a priest. They knew already they would become priests and they were already going to get paid. They didn't take an oath. You understand? And that's what this priesthood is about. To be a priest now, you have to make a promise to God. Those priests became priests because of who their father was. Give me the oath. Keep going. Keep going. Come on.
Verse 19. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of the better hope did.
That's so important to understand. The law made nothing perfect. Nothing. What is the law? The law says if you sleep with a man as in womankind, you have to die. If you eat pork, you have to die. If you give me something else. Celebrate the false religions, gods, or their holidays, you have to die. That law, the law doesn't make you not worship those gods. Dying and being killed for something doesn't change the hearts of men. It doesn't fix you. It doesn't stop you from doing the thing. If you don't know about that, look at the prison system. I mean, you're here in Chicago where you got more murders than raindrop, right? And how much time in jail do you get for a murder down there in Illinois? Anyone know? Good Lord. I mean, it ain't a weekend. I would imagine it's 25 years, right? And come on.
Like you said, it's like 15 to life.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 15 to life. Does that 15 to life stop any of those murders? None. That the law doesn't stop the murder. You get the point? But what does stop the murder? Keep going.
By the which.
No, but the bringing in.
By the which.
Go up a little bit.
Sir.
Mm-hmm.
But the bringing in of a better hope did.
That's what stops murders. That's what stops people from eating pork and eating shrimp and celebrating Christmas and Halloween. Not getting killed for doing it, but giving people hope, a better hope. Now people change. Now they change because now they have hope. And that's what Christ did for the nation of Israel. He showed us how to fight in ourselves, how to fight that thing in your mind that is weak to sin. Christ showed us how to do it. The Levites didn't. The Levites just cut your head off when you committed a sin, unless you were rich. And if you were rich, you could just sin as much as you want. You understand? Come on.
It speaks about the oath in verse 20.
Please. The brother said he needed 16 to 18. Where are we at right now?
We at the end of 19, sir.
All right, 20, and I'm ending it there. Go ahead.
By the which we draw nigh unto God.
This hope is why we draw near to the Lord, because now we know that we don't have to die for what we've done in the past. We can change and get a second chance. That's our hope. And that hope makes us seek him out. It's like knowing that, well, I've done terrible things in my life. But if I change, if I find him, then he will give me another chance. There's hope for me. I don't have to end up like my father or end up like everyone in my neighborhood. I can do something better. I have hope. That hope makes you seek out the Lord. Keep going.
Verse 20. And inasmuch as not without an oath,
And
he was made
slow down
free.
right here. This is the part you need right here. And inasmuch as not without an oath. What does not without an oath mean? Meaning with an oath. You understand? Not without an oath means that you had to take an oath. You understand? Every priest in the Israelite school of UPK under Commandant General Yohana has taken an oath. Every sister has taken an oath to serve those priests. You don't get to come in here without making a promise on your life. You're going to have to do it. If you don't want to do it, this is the wrong place for you. This is not a place that you can just, be expected to benefit because you sit in the seat. That's not, you're in the wrong place for that. These men have taken an oath, and there are duties that they must perform, and they don't have a choice. Keep going.
And was made priest.
Was made priest by what? Not without an oath, meaning they have taken an oath. The Levites didn't take an oath. The priests, after the order of Melchizedek, have taken an oath. Keep going. Done. Give him a hand. Have it. All right. Online, let's go. I got to get to my topic.
Question online is coming from Saparia. He asked, can I get a breakdown of Psalms 31 and 12?
What kind of scotch you got here, Malquad?
I know the brother out the slot, so I'm not sure. I made sure they found out.
It's the good stuff. Give him a hand. Smells like the island of Iceland. All right. Go ahead.
Psalms 31 and verse 12. I am forgotten as a dead man out of mind. I am like a broken vessel.
Yeah, give me some context. Where are we at again?
Psalms 31 and 12.
Okay. Give me one verse above it.
Psalms 31 and verse 11. I was a reproach among all my enemies,
Right.
but especially among my neighbors.
One more verse. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For my life is spent with grief, and my years with sighing.
Let me give you some context. All right. David wrote a lot of the Psalms while he was suffering and poor, living in caves. He had 37 brothers that joined him in the beginning. They became known as the mighty men of King David. But in the beginning, it was just these cats on the run with warrants on their heads from the king of Israel. Not from a mayor or the governor, but the king. That's like having a federal warrant, like as if you were Osama bin Laden.
Right.
And they were on the run, living in caves. They were starving. They had to go to the Levite priests, and they gave them the showbread to eat because they were starving, even though it was unlawful for them to eat it. The Levites gave it to them, man. And they had no weapons to defend themselves because at the same time that they're running from King Saul, they're living in an area where the Philistines own the area. And they're having to fight the Philistines and the Moabites to just live there. And David didn't even have a sword. But they went to these Levite priests, and they gave David the sword that used to own to Goliath that he killed. And David had Goliath's big giant sword. And that was the only sword he had. They were suffering, brother. And so he wrote a lot of these songs, right? A lot of these psalms in his misery when he had the blues, when he was sad. As you know, David was from the tribe of Judah, all right? The people you call today the so-called African Americans or so-called black people. Keep going.
My strength faileth because of my iniquities.
His strength fails because of his iniquities, his sin. His strength is weakened. Keep going.
And my bones are consumed.
And his bones are consumed, meaning he's being eaten alive by his misery and depression from the state he's living in. Keep going.
Verse 11. I was a reproach among all my enemies.
A reproach. He was a reproach. A reproach is like something that your enemy just scoffs at, like, oh, you're disgusting. I hate you. I can't stand you. That's what David was in front of all of his enemies. They looked at him like he was garbage. Keep going.
But especially among my neighbors.
But especially among his friends. His enemies hated him, but just not as much as his friends hated him. they hated him even more. Come on. No, his friends hated him because they weren't really his friends. You get my point? I pray you don't understand that. I know that I was in the world at one time. Right? Just so you know, your friends, that's who's going to snitch on you. Them. Right? All of your gang, they're putting you in prison. And they're the ones that are going to shoot you. Right? Those cats who are your, day one brothers, you are going to get shot by him. He is who is going to steal from you. And he is who is going to have sex with your wife. And he is going to shoot you unless you have sex with his wife and you shoot him. Just letting you know. All right. Keep going.
Go
ahead.
And they fear to my acquaintance.
And they fear to make his acquaintance because he is so hated. He is on the run. Everyone hates him. His reputation is garbage because of what King Saul is saying. All of his so-called friends can't wait to turn him in. Can't wait to snitch on him. Right? He is a reproach. No one wants anything to do with him. Keep going.
That's like a they that did see me without fled from me.
Whoever saw him ran. No one wanted to help him, feed him, give him a place to stay. Keep going.
Verse 12.
Is this a question or not?
Oh, this is it.
Go ahead.
Verse 12. I am forgotten as a dead man at Oman.
Oman, you got to look that up. There's something that happened in the Bible at Oman. It's in the Psalms too. Look up Oman, its significance. Come on.
He said dead man out of mind.
Oh, Salaki. I apologize. I am forgotten as a dead man out of mind, meaning people pay you no mind. They don't care about you. They don't think about you. It's as if you were dead, meaning no one is helping you.
Right.
All right. Imagine having that kind of warrant where, your enemies can't stand you, but your mother is going to turn you in for that reward money.
Nice.
I don't know if you know that, but that's going to happen. Your mom is going to call down to that hotline number. And she's going to say, well, hell, it's better I turn you in and get the money rather than some stranger do it. And maybe your mom gives you a head start. That's all you can ask for. Well, Mom, before you turn me in, give me a day's head start so I can get the hell up out of here. That was David's life, right? He had no friends. His friends hated him. Everyone hated him because he was on the run and he was an enemy of the state at that time. Keep going.
I am like a broken vessel.
A vessel is a cup or a vase. It's supposed to hold liquid. But if it's broken, then the liquid just runs straight out. It's good for nothing. Keep going.
That was it, sir.
Solid. Next
Next question online. It's coming from Shapat. He says, "Slaki, sir, Papa
So it's 8:30 right now, East Coast, right? So in Harlem, it's 8:30. I'm gonna get the question answered after these next two questions. All right. Go ahead.
He says, "Slack you, sir. Baba Bashar, can I get a breakdown of Peter 2 and 18?"
Someone asked Harlem, how long do I have? All right. Do I read it again?
He says, "Slack you, sir. Can I get a breakdown of Peter 2 and 18?"
Peter 2 and 18. First Peter, I'm assuming. Right? You got it. Go ahead and read it. I think I had to break that. I think that was one of my precepts I had to go over.
1 Peter
Go
chapter
ahead.
2, verse 18. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear.
Hold that, because I think that's my topic. Give me another question. I'm going to break that down when I go into my topic. Anything else?
Come on down, sir. Next question is from Kasara Picard. He said, "Shalom, General. Can I get a breakdown of John chapter 13, verse 14 through 17?"
No problem.
And this question is, did Christ actually wash the apostles' feet?
Yes. Christ actually washed their feet. Why? Who knows? Go ahead.
Sign of brotherhood, so that
No, not a sign of brotherhood. No. Christ was their Lord. And they called him Lord, and they should. He was their boss. And he washed their feet. Now give me some of that.
He gave them an example of how a leader should be.
I'll take that. Give him a hand. Meaning, okay, do you have it? Come on. You got it? Please. Let me get the brother right here. You got it up.
The book of John, chapter 13, verse 14. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet.
This is Christ before he was going to be killed and raised again from the dead, right? And he got his 12 disciples together. And he went and got basins of water, and he went down and washed all of their feet. Now, washing feet is hard to understand at this time, but at that time, it was something a servant did to an upper class person, right? If you came into a home and remember, you're in the desert, and you're wearing sandals. You get the point. Shoes are very rare at this time. Most people wore sandals because they were cheaper, right? And of course, your feet are full of mud and dirt and sand. So if you came into someone's home, they knew your feet were especially dirty. Their servant would get down and take off your shoes and wash the road off of your feet. All right. It was something that servants did for someone that was upper class. You understand, right? Well, Christ got the disciples together, and he went down as a servant, took off their sandals and washed their feet. Give me Peter. Are we where Peter said, "No, don't wash my feet"?
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead. Keep reading.
Ye also ought to wash one another's feet.
Christ is saying, if I am your Lord and I get down and wash your feet, then you ought to wash each other's feet. Now, I'm going to break this down in 1 second, all right? But just stay with me. He is above them, far above them, like the sun above the earth. And yet he would get down on his hands and knees and clean their feet. And if I would do this, you should do this for one another. But hold what the this is for now, all right? Just put that to the side. Keep going.
Verse 15. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
Who is the greatest, the servant or his Lord? Who's the greatest?
The Lord.
The Lord is the greatest. Done. He is the one that's in charge. He is the better. Him, the Lord, not the servant. Keep going.
Verse 17. If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them.
So now, knowing this, knowing that the master or the Lord is the greatest one, and knowing that the Lord must do what? Wash the people below him. Get down and wash them. Why? Because you're in charge. You should wash one another. You should all do it. Please. Come on. Give me one more time, boy. All right. Keep going.
Verse 18. I speak not of you all. I know whom I have chosen.
He ain't talking about all of them, because one of those is a dirty bastard named Judas Iscariot. He's not talking about him because he got to get kicked out the school because he's a traitor.
Right.
But the other 11, he's talking about them. Now skip me down to when he tried to wash Peter's feet. Then I'll get the next question. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 24. Simon Peter therefore beckoned to him that he should ask. That's not.
No problem. It might even not be in this account. Let me just break it down to you for time's sake, all right? What is the thing that the Lord or the master or the one in charge has to do for the one who is the servant? What is the washing? It's correcting. That's what it is. Peter, you got to find it for me for time's sake, all right? Go ahead.
It's actually up above.
The water. Go ahead.
So the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, dost thou wash my feet?
So Peter, and your voice inflection was perfect because Peter is like, you gonna wash my feet? You are my Lord. You don't wash my feet. I wash your feet. Because once again, it was what a servant did. So Peter didn't want Christ to wash his feet because Christ was his Lord. Keep going.
Verse 7. Jesus answered him and said unto him, what I do, thou knowest not now.
Meaning you don't understand what I'm doing now. You don't get it. You don't understand now what I'm doing. Go ahead.
But thou shalt know hereafter.
But there'll come a time when you'll get this. You'll understand why I'm doing this. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Peter said unto him, thou shalt never wash my feet.
He said what?
Thou shalt never wash my feet.
Peter said, never. I'll never let you wash my feet. I'll wash your feet, but I'll never let you wash mine. Peter was saying this out of dignity and honor because he knew Christ was his Lord, his boss. Keep going.
Jesus answered him, if I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
Read it again.
Jesus answered him, if I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
Read it again.
If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
What I'm about to explain to all of you in this room is a very UPK concept, and most of you will not understand what I'm talking about unless you are someone that truly embraces the culture in the Israelite School of UPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. This is our culture. Okay. When you come into the school, if you do not allow the people above you to clean you, we are not together. We're not one. We're not one because we drink together and party together like your friends in the world. Your friends in the world, you drink together, you go to the club together, you have fun together, and that fun bonds you with your family members, right? Christmas dinner, Easter Sunday, going out at night and drinking and getting high. In your mind, those things bond you together with people in the world. In the UPK, we are bonded together because we clean each other. You understand? If you have a problem and you do not allow me to fix it, you and I can't be together.
That's right.
You and I can't, we're not connected.
Right.
The only way we can be connected is if I can get down on my knees and fix you. But if you don't let me do it, then we're not brothers. If you're a sister in the school and you know about women who are gossiping against their husband and in secret Facebook groups and women who are on dating websites and doing terribly evil things, and you don't tell anyone, why? Sisterhood. If you're doing that, then we can't be together because you're not allowing us to fix you to fix her. So then we can't be brother and sister. The only way we can be connected is if we can clean each other. You have a problem, you're smoking, you have an issue with your wife, you come to us. We help you with that problem and we unify in it. We are one because we fix each other. That's what makes us one. Not the drinking, not the partying, not going to the club, but the fact that you come to me about your drinking problem. And I stay up all night with you. Now we're together. Now we're one. I pray you understand. You might think that you should handle the problem yourself. You don't want to bother Commander General Yohana with something so small. If you don't bother him, you're not connected to him. Do you understand? That's it. All right, what do you got?
That's all.
I believe we're done here. Go ahead, Al.
Next question online is coming from Nashak Matiyah. He said, Slocky, sir, can the Slocky?
Someone texted me Job. I don't know who this is. Job 13:8. I don't know what this even is about.
He said, Slocky, sir, the supply chain happening in the California port, could it be a result of the mark of the beast?
The supply chain happening in the California port. You got to explain it to me. I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, all right? I know there's a supply chain. It's a terrible thing where they can't get any goods into the country because they don't have people to take the goods off of the boats. But that's what he's talking about. Could it be the mark of the beast? I mean, it's definitely one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's absolutely one of those, a plague of the end times. The mark of the beast, you're stretching with that. But you definitely can go straight to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and something that the UPK has been prophesying is going to happen for a long time. All right, if you're not familiar with that, you gotta let me know. All right.
Okay.
Next.
Next question online is coming from Rashad Yasha'Allah. He says, Slocky, sir, what do you do when a woman tells you to get out every time you have an argument?
If a woman tells you to get out every time you have an argument, then you don't have a place to live. You understand? Right? In essence, you are staying in her house and you're there at her pleasure. And so many brothers, because of the kind of life that you constantly want to live, you're going to always be at some woman's pleasure, right? Because you want to be an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic, and now there's some woman who really you're living with her based on her whim, based on whether or not she is pleased by you or not. You don't please her, right? Now, she is willing to accept your alcoholism. There are so many women out there that don't give a damn if you are the terriblest drunk in the world. They could care less as long as you don't get another woman. You understand? That you can do. You want to get high sometime, pop some pills, no problem. You want to be a drunk, no sweat. But you getting another woman affects something deeper in her. It affects her miserable jealousy. And she is more jealous than she is anything else. Alcoholism, you can live here. Molest my children, you can live here. You can live here doing anything, except for making her feel like girls on Facebook are prettier than her. Then you have to go. You don't have a place to live. Okay, what I would advise you to do is to get a place to live. Right? Get a home that's yours. Now, the problem is to get a home that's yours, you might have to stop being such a damn drunk, right? To actually get a job and hold it down and get your own place. You might have to stop drinking so goddamn much. Because your wife, because she's not an alcoholic, she goes to work every day, right? You're an alcoholic, and yet and still you want to chase tail all over town, but you're there at your wife's pleasure, at her whim, at her will. And you don't have an actual place to stay. You're homeless, right? Think of it like an alley cat. That's the scenario I try to give sisters and brothers, right? Some of you out there, who out here loves animals? You're an animal lover, raise your hand. If you like an animal, you see a good animal, you like animal, right? Time to time, you might bring an alley cat. A cat comes to your door, meow, meow. Oh, man, look at this alley cat. Meow. Oh, maybe I start feeding the alley cat on my porch. Feed him outside. And finally, I say, come on in, alley cat. It's cold out there. It's raining. You let the alley cat in your home, right? Because you're a good person. And you love animals. Then that cat starts to piss on the carpet. And you take your boot and you kick that alley cat out the goddamn door. That same alley cat that you brung in out of love. But he's not allowed to piss on your carpet. And you kick that alley cat out. That's how black women treat some black men. That's how some black men treat black women and Hispanic. Meaning you're taking them in because you got a soft heart, as long as they don't piss on the floor. When they piss on the floor, you're going to toss that cat out the damn window, right? Don't be an alley cat. And if you are an alley cat, you better not piss on the floor. I pray you understand. Moving on.
Next question online, other one is coming from Dadia. She says, Salaki Alawa, if I may ask a question. I know on the Sabbath we are not to do any Sabbath work or have anyone do Sabbath work, but what does the Most High wants us to do on the Sabbath as women? The water, I don't want.
Well, what is servile work? That's what you need, all right? You got your hand up, sis? No, it's all right. Anyone know what servile work? Servant work, right? The work that you do for your slavery is servant work. The work that you want to do is not servant work. So let's say on your day off, if you cannot wait for your day off so you can clean that closet, that's not servile work because it's the work you want to do. You can't wait for your day off so you can change the oil on your car. You're looking forward to your day off so you can go get all dirty and get under that car and change that oil. That's not servile work. That's your pleasure. That's what you want to do on your day off. You can't wait for your day off so you can go lift weights, which is strenuous and hard. That's not servile work. It's what you want to do. Some women love their day off so they can turn on old school R&B and clean that house from head to toe. They're looking forward to it. That's their plan. Their plan is to turn on R&B and clean that goddamn house, and that's what they're waiting for the weekend to do.
That's right.
Is that servile work? No. It's their pleasure. Here's the key to understanding the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, you can do whatever you want to do. It's the Sabbath. Now you decide what that is. Who doesn't decide? Your boss. They don't get to decide. They decide for 6 days a week. They tell you, well, today I want you filing paper. I want you driving from here to there, dropping off food door to door. I want you giving people rides from here to there. I want you doing this. That's their pleasure 6 days a week.
Right.
You're doing their pleasure. That's servile work. When it's your day, it's up to you. Simple enough to understand? Can you clean on the Sabbath? Absolutely. If that's what you want to do. Can you fix your car on the Sabbath? Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. It's your day. The Sabbath is not, man is not made for the Sabbath. The Sabbath is made for man. This is not a day that you serve. This is a day that serves you. Everyone understands? That's a quote out the New Testament. All right, next.
Next question online is coming from Danisha Jones. She says, Lucky sir, can I get a breakdown of Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 through 6?
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. Al-Akim and Akwaf have it.
Oh, God.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying,
This is Isaiah, the 4th chapter. This is biblical prophecy, right? This is one of the bedrock precepts that you have to learn so that you can battle a wild woman day and night about a man having more than one wife. So you can constantly battle this every minute of the day, all the day. That's all your life is about. It is proving that this scripture is going to happen. As many of you know in the Israelite school of UPK, a man is allowed to have more than one wife. All right? That should be a great blessing to every woman because no man wants one wife. That's the problem with brothers. Brothers don't want any wife. None. They want to have sex with you and leave you. The problem with the Black and Hispanic community is not that brothers want more than one woman. Brothers don't want any. None. Brothers would much rather have sex with a woman who has a man. Brothers, explain this to women. They don't know this about brothers. I talk to women all the time, and they don't know you really. They think that when you came into the truth, that's when you got all wild. I talk to him, and it's like, he believed in having more than one wife, and I can't stand it. And I always go, what do you think he was doing before he came into the truth? Just cooking you breakfast every morning and going to work and giving you his paycheck? This brother was having sex with all your family members. All of them. He had sex with your mom, your sisters, your cousins, your friends. He's been with all of them. He just never kept any of them. The problem with men is that they don't want any wife. None. If you come into the UPK, now you're going to have all of them. But outside of here, you don't want any of them. Right. Sisters, let me explain brothers in the world to you, all right? Ask your man about this later. In the world, he would prefer if a woman had a man. Because then if he had sex with her and she got pregnant, he could pin it on him. Raise your hand if you do not know what I'm talking about. You see that? You see that, right? You see that, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. That's brothers in the world. They don't want any woman. They don't want the response. They're like, oh, she got a man? Good. No problem. Now I don't have to wear a condom. Because if she gets pregnant, it's his. I don't have to do anything for her. I don't got to pay for any meals. I don't got to take her out. He can do all of that. She can just call me for sex. And if she gets pregnant, congratulations. You and your husband can now raise a baby boy. Come on.
You don't want to have to deal with that mouth.
Oh, listen, this is what he doesn't want. He doesn't want to be the husband because being the husband means he has to be the one to argue with you. He would rather you argue with somebody else. You be with him. He just comes over for pleasure and fun. And that's that. That is men in the world. Here's men in the UPK. We're keeping all of them. Every last one of them. Give him a hand. All of them. Which means what? You're going to deal with that mouth. You're going to deal with that bitch. You're going to have to argue and yell and argue and yell all night. That's what you signed up for. Keep going.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
How many women?
7 women.
How many women?
7 women.
It's in the Bible, brother. 7 women shall take hold of one man. Embrace one man. All 7 of them want him. They want to take hold of him. They want to be with him. Keep going.
Shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat of our own bread.
This is based on a precept in the Old Testament where the Most High said that if you marry a woman, you cannot allow what you were giving the old woman, the other women, to decrease, right? Because that's divorce. When you get a new wife, and because you got a new wife, you throw away the old one. That's divorce, and that is what is legal and allowed in America. To find a new woman and then forget about the old woman. That's against the law. You cannot do that. These women are saying what? We all want you. And we will do what?
We will eat of our own bread.
We'll eat our own bread. You might think that to have more than one wife, you have to have a lot of money. You're a sucker and a fool. That brother having sex with your wife doesn't have a job. You understand? He can't read. And he's having sex with your wife. And he cannot read. He is that cat that worked with her every day on that job with that yellow vest on. And he is as dumb as a stick. And he is kissing up on that girl all shift. Coming up behind her, playing all fun games with your wife, tickling her as she's on the forklift. Playing with her all day. You don't need money to have more than one wife. We're reading about it right here. Why? Because they say we will buy our own food. It's right here in the Bible. Read it one more time.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread.
Meaning we're not marrying you because you can take care of all of us. We'll eat our own bread. Keep going.
And wear our own apparel.
And we'll wear our own clothing. That's what apparel is. We're not marrying you because you're so rich that you can take care of 7 women. Nah, we'll take care of ourselves. We'll buy our own food and we'll buy our own clothing because you will provide something more valuable.
That's right.
You're going to provide something more valuable than clothing, more valuable than food. Keep going.
Only let us, it's like it. Only let us be called by thy name.
Only let us be called by thy name. Now I'm Mawaquad's wife. Now I'm Iwalam's wife. Now I'm Zakar's wife. That is a treasure. Do you understand? That's a treasure. It's an amazing gift because being married to this brother does something that you can't buy for a woman. Keep going.
On the come, verse 2. It's like it. To take away our reproach.
To do what?
To take away our reproach.
To do what?
To take away our reproach.
Who can look up the word reproach with me? Having it be said that, well, I'm married to this officer in the UPK. I'm married to this priest. That being said about her takes away her reproach. What does the word reproach mean? Right here, please.
Reproach, the expression of disapproval or disappointment.
Let me tell you what being married to a brother in the school does for a sister, man. It's priceless. It makes her valuable. Now she's not a bitch. She's not a slut. She's not a hoe. That's what her mother told you she was. That's what her mother said. That's what every man that's ever had her said. She's a piece of garbage. She's nothing. She's trash. Now she is a sister and a mother in the UPK. Because she's married to you. Oh, that's valuable. Like now she's going to put on a long dress, bro. These sisters didn't always wear long dresses. Did you know that? I don't know if you knew. But they wouldn't always dress like that. Do you understand? No, they were not. What you see right here wasn't who they were a while ago. This is new women. Brand new women. And now the way they're treated with dignity and honor. And that is more important than food and clothing to the right kind of sister. And that only can be provided for by you. So because of that, 7 women are going to want it out. Because they're going to marry someone in the world and they're still going to be, sluts married to him. Some woman that has had 3 abortions and she's a piece of garbage and she's married to Raheem. And Raheem, her and Raheem have one of the worst things in the world. Her and Raheem have a on-again, off-again relationship, which is the nastiest of all the relationships. That is just the term is like, ugh, yuck. This is what on-again, off-again means is when we break up, we all go have sex with everybody. And then after we've had our full of strange rod and vagina, then we all come back together. and then we argue. And then we all go out and explore the world for penis and vagina. And then we come back together again. We've been on again, off again for 12 years, 15 years. It's the nastiest in the world marriages. On again, off again. You know what that means about you and your wife, Fox? She's had sex with a lot of brothers, right? But you were on a break, so they don't count. They count.
That's right.
The men she's been with on a break, they count up.
Right.
That's a real penis, even on a break. It ain't a magic penis. That's a real penis. Even on a break, the penis is still real. If I was you, I'd come in the UPK, and I'd find a sister in a long dress who's coming in here like, marrying you means I'm clean. Means I'm a sister in the school now. I'm not some hoe. My mother said I was always going to be a hoe. She said that to me, but I'm not. The brothers see me and they call me sister. And the other sisters look at me like a mother. And I feed the poor. And I'm in a clothing program. And I am a daughter of Zion. Yeah, you can't buy that. I pray you understand. Next. You good here now?
So I got one.
I
Another
need to
question.
go into man pleasing and what's the other thing? Respecter of persons. Many of you have heard that term before, right? Don't be respecter of persons. Don't man please. Do I have any more questions? Come on.
Another question online is from Mashamar. He says, "Sluggy, sir, can I get a breakdown on the difference between a deacon, bishop, and priest mentioned in the scriptures?"
All right, a deacon and a bishop. You look it up in the Bible dictionary. Get that fast, all right? Zondervan Bible Dictionary. You've heard these terms in the world. These terms are biblical terms. These are not terms that are used in the UPK because of the Christian use of these words. These words are polluted now in your mind, right? Which is why we would never call ourselves deacons or bishops, even though these are words used in the New Testament. We would refer to the meaning of those words, the spirit of those words, and that's what we use. That's also going into my topic. Any other question besides that? All right, done. This is the last one, then we go into the topic. This goes into the topic. Deacon and the bishop, just tell me what it means, all right? Someone else, I'm going to need Exodus 4 and 15, Galatians 1 and 10. Let's start there. I'll take that other one in Romans, the one you had earlier as well, all right? Hold Exodus 4 and 15. Save that for the end. I'll take Galatians 1 and 10 first. Not now. Let me get whatever I'm being asked right here. Mm-hmm.
Bishop, Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 126. Original, the principal officer of the local church.
Mm-hmm.
The other being the deacon or deacons, the title elder or privaster.
Give me what the word means. The word bishop. What does it mean?
It just got
original. Mm-hmm.
Originally, the principal officer.
That's the job. The word means master. You can find it somewhere right in there. The word deacon means servant. That's what it means in the Greek. Servant and master, right? And schools were led by masters and servants, which in the Greek were called bishops and deacons, meaning the head of the school would be the master and the brother right under him was the deacon. So this is established by two men. Christ sent the apostles out in twos, bishops and deacons, Moses and Aaron.
Right.
You understand, right? That's the bishop and the deacon. Now, what was the question about this again?
No, he just wants to know the difference between
The difference is this. The bishop is in charge, and the bishop is in charge, and the deacon serves the bishop, right? The bishop is the master, and the deacon is the servant. Everybody gets that? Just like Moses and Aaron. Give me where Christ sent them out by twos, all right? That's in Matthew. Come on.
It's kind of like an apprentice to a.
Exactly. You got the cat that's training and the cat being trained. And that's the school. It's established by two people who go out, and those two people become 4, become 6, become 12, become 144,000, and they're in groups of twos. All right? You have what I asked for yet? He sent them out in 2 by 2. It's in the book of Matthew, I believe. Go ahead.
I got it, sir. It's Mark chapter 6 and verse 7.
Go ahead.
Mark chapter 6 and verse 7. I'll like him have it.
Oh my God.
And he called unto him the 12, and he began to send them forth by 2 and 2.
By what?
By 2 and 2.
By what?
By 2 and 2.
Bishops and deacon. One bishop, one deacon. The principal head of the school was the bishop. The cat under him, directly under him, was the deacon, right? Like two people The one in command and the second in command. And that's how Christ spread the word of God throughout his area. He sent them out by twos, all right? Why did he send them out by twos? Because of Moses and Aaron. What's a priest? A priest, the word priest is a servant.
Right.
That's a priest. Or to be more specific, a representative of the people before God, right? As opposed to the people going before God and making their case. The Lord wants to kill all of us because of our sin. We choose a representative to go to the Most High and to figure out how we can all live. He talks to that representative. That representative talks to us. The first representative we had was Moses. And Moses went before the Lord by himself, came and told us what we had to do not to die. Everyone understands.
Son of God.
Who was Moses' second? Aaron. After that, it was Joshua, right? He was under Moses. They went out by two, and they went and spread what God told Moses. Now, man pleasing or respective persons. I believe there's something that happened on that chat house online, right? Where it was some type of battle saying that the UPK is man pleasers. Does that sound familiar? We have respective persons because we talk about Commanding General Yohana so much. We man please Commanding General Yohana. We have respective persons. Another brother called me. This happens every so often. I hear someone say respective persons and they don't know what it means.
Right.
Like some brother called me recently. He said, well, this brother, I love this brother. I think his camp is great. I'm not trying to have respective persons just because I love him, but his camp is great. That's not what respective persons means. Respective persons does not mean you respect a person, because then, of course, it would be unlawful to what? To respect a person, which would mean connect the dots, which would mean you would have to disrespect every person to be lawful. If he's a man, you have to say F you. You ain't shit. Now God loves me. That's not what this scripture is talking about. Okay? So many of you, I don't know why you think this. I think it's from the world where you think that honoring a man who is due honor is wrong. And so many of you, I ask him many times, I go, did you have a father? What do you think about your pop? Your father would be a man and a person, right? Are you allowed to say my pop is the greatest pop? Can you say that? My dad is the greatest dad? Is that unlawful? Well, it would be. If you can't have respect of persons, then wouldn't it be unlawful to say, my dad is the greatest? If that's man pleasing, your dad is a man. Guess who else is a man? Oh boy. Who else is a man? You know who's a man? I belong. Christ is a man, which means you couldn't follow Christ. You have to say, F you, Christ. I'm not no man pleaser. I don't have respect to persons. Christ is a man. Is he a man, or you don't believe he's a man? I mean, guess who else is a man? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Paul, Timothy, Hosea. If you can't respect men, how in the hell do you respect them? They're all men. For some reason, I don't know where this came from. I'm assuming it's the Christian church, and I'm assuming it's people that don't want you to ever have a father figure.
Right.
You're not allowed to have any man that you look up to. So because of that, it's wrong to talk about a man as if he deserves honor. Commander General Yohana is the greatest man I've ever met. Bar none, done. And that's that. It's true. Do you understand? Like, if I started to tell you the stories, it would be, first of all, I would start crying. After that, we'd be here all night of the things that have been going on for 27 years of something I would never have done that he did for me. That's wrong to say that? That's in some way, that's evil. It's because you don't know what man-pleasing is or respect of persons, and I'm going to explain it to you now, okay? So many of you, you get caught with that because it feels wrong to you. It feels wrong to talk about a man like he's great. Why? Because none of you respect your father anyway. You don't even get the concept of my father is great. He's the man. He's the best. I defend him. He did this for me. You don't need that concept is so foreign to you that talking about a nigga like that seems wrong, which is really what we're getting down to. Really, you respect people all the time. All the time. Presidents you respect. You stand for flags. Right? But niggers, you can't have a respect for. That's really what we're talking about. Right? I'm going to help you with your problem, all right? Give me the precept I asked for. Where you at?
Galatians chapter 1 and verse 10.
So I'm going to explain respect of persons. Okay, this is respect of persons or man pleasing? This is man pleasing, I believe. Okay, we're going to start at Galatians. Bear with me. We're going to start at 1 and 10. Yeah. And we're going to go down 2 verses, I believe. Go ahead and read it.
Come on, God. Galatians chapter 1 verse 10. For do I now persuade men or God?
Read that again.
For do I now persuade men or God?
Meaning, am I trying to convince men or am I trying to convince God? What's more important? It's important to convince God, not men.
That's right.
Keep going.
Or do I seek to please men?
Keep going.
For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Christ.
If I yet please men, I will not be the servant of Christ. Hold on to that, and I'm going to explain. Keep going.
But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after men.
Read that again.
But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after men.
Again.
But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man.
The gospel that he learned is not of man. Man didn't give him this gospel. Who wrote this?
Paul, sir.
Paul. Who did Paul learn from?
Christ.
And?
Gamaliel.
Paul did learn from man. A man. Not men. When the Lord is saying not to be a man pleaser, each individual man is not men. Men is society, like mankind. The gospel that we learn doesn't come from men, but a man did teach it to you. A man taught Paul, Gamaliel. He said, I learned and sat at the feet of Gamaliel. And then he was turned blind for 3 days when Christ came to him and sent him into a man's house to teach him the truth. Paul learned from a man, but he didn't learn from men.
That's right.
What is men? Society.
Right.
Popular culture. That's men. But a man taught Paul. Paul was sent to his house and stayed there with him until he learned the truth. It's in the New Testament. Men teach men, but what we learn is not of man. Do you understand? What we learn in this room is not of man. Why? Because man celebrates Christmas. Man celebrates Halloween. Man goes to church. Man, the term man means society or mankind. You've heard this before, have you not? Right? Man is not Debar and Mawaquad. That's not men. Man is the popular thing that the majority does. Read it again, that last part.
That the gospel which was preached of me is not after man.
Keep going.
Verse 12. For I neither received it of man.
Read that again.
For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it.
Who taught Paul? Men. A man taught Paul. If you need it, pull the precept after he was blinded for 3 days and he was sent to the brother's house to teach him the truth. The gospel came from a man's mouth But what that man taught him was of God, not of men. Do you understand? If it was of men, it would be what people believe. The same old average everyday thing, which is oppression, which is the same stuff your grandmama believed, her grandmama, your daddy. Barack Obama is a Christian and Donald Trump. The Democrats are Christian and the Republicans are Christian.
Right.
They're all, the Ku Klux Klan is Christian and the Baptist, black Baptists fighting them are Christian.
Right.
Christianity is of man. They all do it. But this word is not of man. All the way man teaches it in a synagogue, right? A man, it comes out of a man's mouth, but that man got it from God, not from men, not from society. Any more?
But by the revelation of Jesus Christ.
The revelation, meaning this man was given a revelation from Christ, and he taught it to us. It didn't come from the average everyday Christian. To what? I might go over the taste, all right? It didn't come from society. It didn't come from mankind. Man-pleasing would be when you celebrate Halloween.
Right.
When you shave off your beard, you're a man-pleaser.
Right.
That's what you're doing. Why? Because people are going to be happy about it. When you leave the truth, your family is going to love it. If you leave the truth, you are a man-pleaser. Let me give you something else that makes you a man-pleaser. The people on TikTok, what's the name of the thing?
TikTok.
No, not TikTok.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. The people on Clubhouse said that you shouldn't talk about Commander General Yohana like that, right? Did they say that? If you stop talking about General Yohana like that, then
You're a man, please.
you're a man pleaser. Because isn't he a man telling you to stop talking about General Yohana? If he's a man, so listen, so in essence, if he tells you not to do it, don't you have to disobey him because he's a man?
Right.
The world hates our rank system. The world hates how we talk about Commander General Yohana. If you listen to them, you're a man pleaser.
That's right.
You're a man pleaser because they don't like it. The world doesn't like it. Your grandmama, the Democrats, the Republicans, the cops are Christian. Who else is Christian? The criminals. The cop has a cross around his neck under that all that vest. The drug dealer wears a cross around his neck. Man is Christian. The society is Christian. What we teach is not of man. What Commander General Yohana gave us is not of man.
That's right.
It is not of man.
That's right.
And we persuade God, not man. So if you don't like what we say about Commander General Yohana, we're not here to persuade you that what we're doing is right. We persuade God, not man.
Right.
Do you understand?
God.
Give me the next one. I gave it to you a minute ago. Not, was it Genesis?
Exodus.
Oh, that. Give me the one in Romans. Somebody said earlier. Is it Romans 2:14?
First Peter 2:18.
Mhm.
First Peter chapter 2, verse 18. Servants, be subject.
Say what?
Servants,
Servants. Oh boy. Servants. Go ahead.
be subject to your masters.
Be subject to your what?
Masters.
But I thought you can't please a man. This is in the New Testament. Servants, be subject to your masters. In the UPK, there are masters and servants. Right here in Chicago, the number one master in Chicago is Captain Marvel Quad. Give him a hand. And there are men that work under him. And he's to be obeyed down here.
That's right.
And everybody understands that. And that comes from Harlem. He's to be obeyed, and you don't have a choice.
That's right.
And that's that. Servants, obey your master. Keep going.
With all fear.
And master has an S on it. Did you notice that?
Time.
I mean, he's not the only one. But there are so many men that wash you. And you're going to have to obey them. Obey them with what? With all fear. You should be afraid of your masters. Keep going.
Not only to the good and gentle.
Not only to the good and gentle, meaning you might have a brother who is over you and he's kind and patient and works with you. Not only to the kind and gentle, go ahead.
But also to the forward.
What does it mean to be forward? To be mean. In the world, the word forward would be like someone who's an asshole. Have you ever met that type of brother? There's a few of them in the UPK. Give them a hand. One or two of them in here. What you say, in the room? I didn't say that. I did not say in the room. That's what you said. That's what you were thinking. I'm just saying there's one or two of them in the nation of Israel. All right? Well, guess what? You got to do what they tell you to do, too.
That's right.
All right? You can take him to counsel, right? You can go to him between him and thee alone. And you can take any man, including myself and Captain Mawquad, to counsel, right? But you got to follow your orders, whether these orders are mean or nice. You still have to do them. Because when you disobey an order, you make this house dysfunctional. You have to obey every lawful order from the men who give them to you, who are your masters, according to this Bible right here. Keep going.
Verse 19. For this is thankworthy. If a man for conscience towards God endure grief.
If a man for conscience towards God, meaning he knows that this man who is above him is put above him by God, not by man. So for conscience sake, to do the right thing, go ahead.
Endure grief.
He endures grief from this froward man. That's a thankful thing, man. It's manly. It's a manly thing. You're not a woman. You're not, we're damn near everything that's spoken to you. I got to say, pretty please with sugar on top. Could you come to camp tomorrow? Okay, pretty please with sugar on top and cherries. Could you please come to camp this Saturday? Okay, what do I have to, how nice does it have to be said to you to get you to do it?
Right.
It's good if you could just do it no matter how you're told.
That's right.
Then at least we could get the camp, right?
Right.
Now, if a brother speaks to you in a way that's wrong, go to him and tell him and take him to counsel. That's your right as an officer and a priest or a brother in the school. But you have to show up to camp no matter how you're told to go to camp.
That's right.
Everyone understands.
God.
Keep going.
Suffering wrongfully.
Suffering wrongfully. He's telling you in a wrong way. He shouldn't speak to you like that, but you follow that order. That's thankworthy. Thank you for showing up to camp, even though you were told in a way that's wrong. Thank you. Now take him to counsel and let's deal with it. Give me the last one. This should make it clear to you for time's sake. I don't have a lot of time, all right? Now I want to make it very clear with this last precept. Sisters, any questions over here? Let me know now. All right. Brothers, any questions in the room? You good to go? Come on.
Come on. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 15. And thou shalt speak unto him.
So we're reading about Moses and Aaron. We brought them up earlier, right? This is when Moses was first told to go before Pharaoh and to tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Moses spent 40 years out in the world marrying a heathen woman. Then the Most High came to him, brother, and told him he had to go back and rescue his people. So before he went back, the Lord told him what to say, told him what he was supposed to say in front of Pharaoh. But Moses didn't want to say it because Moses had a speech impediment. Think of a stutter. And that stutter broke his confidence. He didn't believe that he had the skill to go in front of the government of Egypt and speak. And the Most High was angry at him because the Most High said, I created the tongue.
Right.
Do what I tell you to do. But the Most High suffered Moses and his lack of confidence to speak. So he fixed the problem. And in fixing it, he created the two that Christ sent out 2,000 years ago. He created the two that establishes schools all over this world right now under Commanding General Yohanan. Keep going.
Come on. And put words in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be with thy mouth.
So read it from the top, please.
Come on. The book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 15. And thou shalt speak unto him.
The hymn is talking about Aaron. If you read above it, the Lord is saying that Aaron is on his way here. When Aaron gets here, you will speak unto him. Keep going.
God. And put words in his mouth.
And you're going to do what?
Put words in his mouth.
You're going to do what?
Put words in his mouth.
When you go out the street and teach, Commanding General Yohana has put those words in your mouth. You don't go out in the street and teach what you want.
Right.
Where in the F do you think you're at? You're going to go out and you're going to say what you are told to say. That's right. Because if you don't say what you're told to say, then what you have said comes from men. Who's the man? You. You're the man. If you say whatever you want to say, then you're the man who you're pleasing. You're the man who you're serving. And the thing that pleases you is the same thing that pleases everybody. Right. Selfishness and Christianity and greed. And before you know it, you'll have a revelation that Jesus died for the whole world. And you'll think you invented it. How many cats out here? Oh man, listen, I got something. Jesus died for all races. Whoa. And they say it as if it never was said before. Right. Yo, the Lord showed me something. Mary didn't have sex when she made Jesus. It's a revelation. Nigga, that's a revelation everybody has. What's my point I'm trying to make? If you speak what's in your heart, you're going to say what everybody else says. Right. You understand? Right. I don't want to hear about your heart. I want you to be a puppet. My quad is going to tell you something. You're going to go out there and say it. And that's that. Everybody understands. Keep going.
God. And I will be with thy mouth.
And the Lord is going to be with your mouth. Right? You're going to put words in Aaron's mouth, and God is going to be with your mouth. Meaning, God will put the words in Moses' mouth. Moses will tell those words to Aaron and put those words in Aaron's mouth. That's the process, man. God talks to him, not you. Right. God doesn't talk to you. Commanding General Yohana talks to you. Your officer of 5,000, your officer of 50 talks to you. That's life in here because it's life in the Bible. Nobody needs all your revelations and your dreams. You keep them. You go out on the street, you're going to say what you're told to say. Everyone understands. Keep going.
And with his mouth.
And with his mouth. So God talks to Moses. Moses talks to Aaron. God is with Moses' mouth and with Aaron's mouth. Because it's not of man. It's of God. Keep going.
And will teach you what ye should do.
God is going to teach Moses what to do. Moses is going to teach Aaron what to do. God is with both of them. Keep going.
Verse 16. And he shall be thy spokesman.
Who shall be thy, listen carefully. Aaron will be the spokesman of Moses. You know what the word spokesman means, right? Meaning you're not in charge, but you speak for the person who is in charge. You're the spokesman. You speak for this person. Aaron will be the spokesman for Moses. Keep going.
Unto the people.
Unto the people. So the Aaron is in front of the people teaching. But the words that Aaron is saying come from Moses. Moses got those words from the Most High God. That's right. Keep going.
And he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth.
So Aaron will be to you what?
He shall be to thee instead of a mouth.
To thee what?
Instead of a mouth.
To thee what?
Instead of a mouth.
Aaron will be to Moses instead of a mouth. Does Moses have a mouth of his own? Does Moses have a mouth of his own? Yes. But what is Aaron?
His mouthpiece.
Aaron is instead of a mouth. What does the term instead mean? Do I need to look that up? Look up instead quickly. I got to go. Instead. Okay. Moses has lips and mouth and tongue and all that, right? But Aaron is what he has instead of a mouth. Go ahead.
Instead, as an alternative or substitute.
An alternative, a substitute to a mouth. So although Moses has a mouth, he has a substitute for a mouth, which is Aaron. Aaron speaks for Moses. So when Aaron is talking, you don't need to talk to Moses, because if Aaron is speaking, Moses is speaking. Do you understand?
It's kind of like when people approach us on the street, like, I want to speak to Commander General Yohana.
You're talking to him right now. And that's the One West answer. I've said it a million times. I need to speak to Commander General Yohana. You are talking to him.
That's right.
Do you understand? That's One West. Keep going.
And thou shalt be to him.
Now listen careful, young brothers on Chat House. Listen carefully. And thou shalt be to him. Go ahead.
Instead of God.
And what?
Instead of God.
Say that one more time.
Instead of God.
What does instead mean?
Substitute.
An alternative, a substitute. Listen carefully, brothers. Okay, I know this hurts your little feelings because you're on Chat House and people are making you feel bad for the honor that a knight would show his lord, which is masculine in every way.
That's right.
Right? But just so you know this, I don't serve God. I serve Commander General Yohana. I don't know what that is. That, you know, brothers call me about their dreams and things they get I don't have revelations. God doesn't talk to me. I go to sleep at night, and if I have the most amazing dream in the world, I wake up and forget it because it is not relevant to me. What I dream and what I think about and what I think things should be done. I have done a good job if Commander General Yohana says I have done a good job. I have done a bad job if he says I have done a bad job. Life is extremely simple for me because I serve Commanding General Yohana instead of God. Instead of God. That's not my burden to, you know, go sit on a mountain and fast for 3 days and get God's revelation. That's not how I live. I live like a knight thousands of years ago. And I have a Lord that I serve, and that's that. And if he decides that my job is good, then he will reward me. And if I have done a poor job, then he will punish me rightfully. And that is the duty of a man. That is masculine, and it's what Aaron was. Aaron didn't get to obey God. Aaron had to obey Moses. Everybody understand? With that, pass the class over to Priest Officer Ivan. You got it up.
I walk with y'all. Rock.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Thumb. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Thumb. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Thumb. Clap it up. Let's get it.
We're going to do a courtesy salute. Sisters and Shabby, it means to be seated. Men of Israel, Imam Shabbat, Iman, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Thumb. Yos Matah. Sorry, turn face sisters. Sisters and Major stand. Men of Israel, Imam Shabbat, Iman, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Yos Matah. Class dismissed.